That looks pretty good. All right.
This is anyway.
Yeah, I'll make the adjustment on it.
Greetings.
Greetings, Facebook Live family and Instagram family.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining us. I know it's a little bit after 9 o'clock, but we're here. Truth is, I just walked in the door.
Ha!
Literally, just walked in the door. And Mama Fiyah just finished being amazing. And she's not finished being amazing. She's just taking a pause on some of the amazing things around the house to do this.
Taking a break.
So thank you for your patience in joining us. It's True Love Movement Tuesday. Getting a little water here. We're going to wait for a few folks to come on in. We got Dawn Israel. What's going on, Dawn? How you doing, sister?
Good evening.
And
well, maybe we can talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. I know we're going to probably want to do that as more people come on. But Dawn, so tomorrow, you got to tell a little bit more about it because you know about this.
Well, I mean, it was just an opportunity that we said yes to.
Right.
And it's a love and happiness, like Facebook Live for a radio station for a sister called Dana being Dana.
Uh-huh.
And we just were called to talk about Black love. And, you know, I'm glad that they contacted us because, you know, we're going to bring it, Brother Shay.
Definitely. We know a thing or two about Black love.
But we're going to talk about the real. We're going to talk
that's
about...
the only way we know how to do it.
Right, right. Because you could color it all,
in very superficial
roses
ways.
And butterflies and stuff, but it ain't that. It's real work.
Right.
Definitely. It's real work. And so we'll talk about that. You know, our story is very unique.
Definitely.
A very unique story. You know, it's not all little violins and stuff like that.
It's big violins and horns, a whole horn section and drums and everything
Definitely
else.
Drums.
Definitely drums.
So.
Let's see. Trying to get this together. What's going on, Tracy Elizabeth? Thank you for joining us.
My sister
Monica,
soldier.
She's Marvelous is here. What's going on, sister?
Hey, Sister Soldier.
And family, we're trying to get just a little more adept at this thing. Though we've been doing the live Facebooks in the studio for a while, it's pretty simple in the studio, and the studio is, you know, is what it is. Here at the house.
And the studio is so much easier, it seems like.
Yeah, but here at the house, because I guess we do so many things here at the house, we're making some adjustments. So thank you for bearing with us and growing with us. And we're doing our best to acknowledge everybody too. Salutations. Who is this? That's okay, Tracy Elizabeth. Cool. So yeah, we'll get started. So the panel's tomorrow. What time, Mama Fiyah?
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock on Facebook.
What we're gonna do? There's a flyer, right? There's a couple of flyers. Hey, Shantice,
my sister. All my sister soldiers be representing.
They do. The brothers, I don't know. You know, this is what I heard. A brother told me. He said, "Man, that you know, sometimes the brothers feel like we go too hard."
What?
Yeah, on the brothers. Well, they don't always get they don't always get the full experience of everything that happens, and sometimes the titles are a little bit intimidating, and you know how, because the True Love Movement is a deep end of the pool, so it's not a shallow or superficial thing. You have to actually listen or watch and maybe process it. Like a lot of folks say, they watch the show and they don't say nothing. They just watch the show and they process it, and they process it for maybe a day or two, and then they might watch it again, and then they'll talk about it. They got somebody texting me, family, excuse me. And then they'll talk about it with folks that they respect, like I encourage them to do. And then, you know, so, you know, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I don't think we're hard on the brothers at all. I think we balance. I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Right.
But I would love to talk to the brothers and just let them know, you know, what we are is being 100% truthful, 100% real. We always bring ourselves into it. Nobody's scolding anyone.
Right.
You know, it's just hard to hear sometimes, and it's uncomfortable. Right. That's the thing. It's uncomfortable.
And I think that also, too, the way in which that we talk about this, in a very comfortable way. But I'm saying the way that we do it is not as familiar with. It's not like everybody else would do it, and so there's some different kind of things out there. You know how people like some folk are accustomed to love somebody busting you upside your head or whatever, and it's like that's love. I'm doing this because I love you, and if you're cultured to that, then when you're getting it in a gentle way, you don't even know how to recognize it sometimes. So it's just time. But at the same time, I have spent some quality time with some brothers over the last few days, and I am so hopeful about the black man. I'm talking about energized. That's why I'm
hopeful too.
still going. I got nothing but gratitude because brothers are really coming to themselves and
I say.
and they're working. They're really doing some serious work. It ain't no small thing. So sisters, just I know hope is dope, and it is because Mama Fiyah helped me with that. And then another brother, Brother Gilbert Muhammad, he teaches a powerful lesson on hope and excitement. And he said, how do you feel when you hope a thing is going to happen? And what he's getting at is that there's some doubt when you hope something, but when you're excited about something, you're sure about it. And so we're not looking for hope, we're looking for excitement. So in order to create that, we have to know a thing and not hope. So I love that. And I wanted to shout out Brother Gilbert Muhammad, Mosque number 46. An excellent brother that I've gotten to know over the years, and we still do a lot of good quality work together.
Yeah, and let me explain the hope is dope concept. Listen, hope is a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing. And the hope is dope concept came to me when some brilliant elders sat me down and kind of talked to me about the future of black people.
Right.
We were saying, yeah, we're going to do this and that, and we're going to do this, but it was unfounded. There was no organization of it. It just was kind of like in the ether, airy around with no grounding to it. Mm-hmm. And they were like, well, how you gonna do all that? You know what I'm saying? And we like, and we just say we hopeful that and they stopped and it was like, hope is dope.
Right.
Hope have you in the ether somewhere high on thinking what could happen, and and listen, I understand hope is a beautiful thing, and hope keeps us trying to move in the right direction. But we need more than hope, family.
Well, definitely.
We need a plan, and we need alchemy. Mm-hmm. We need to create. We need to manifest and actualize. We need those things. And hope is only the beginning. Like, hope can't be all we have.
That's right.
Hope can't be all we have.
Listen, I totally get it. And I'm glad that you gave that context about hope. Sister Tracy Elizabeth says we need action. I agree, because a lot of times there's talk, but here's the thing: we also can't live in absolutes. It ain't all action without proper analysis. Mm-hmm. A lot of the times we want to jump into action because we want to do something, but something's already happening. Like, we ain't starting nothing; we're continuing somewhere along the line. That's why the historian in me is rooted in that principle. But I like you just mentioned alchemy, family, and so shout out to everybody that watched or was with us on Saturday for the True Love Movement Hour on WBOK, like we do every Saturday at 5:00 for the last 5 years. We did in the presence and absence of the black man. The topic was in the presence and absence of black men. That's what it was. In the presence and absence of black men. Mm-hmm. And if you missed the live, the show is actually on the YouTube channel. What we're doing now, family, is we're being totally clear and transparent with you. We've had a YouTube channel for a while that we've not done a lot with. And we've been hearing from folk that YouTube is a lot easier to navigate than Facebook, mainly because our videos don't be 2 minutes. They'd be an hour on Saturdays and 2 hours on Tuesdays. And people do watch them in increments because they have shit to do. They just can't sit around and watch the True Love Movement Hour all day. We're hoping for a world where you can actually sit around and do that and still be productive and sustain yourself and share it.
All those things.
And so we're building our YouTube channel following. A lot of the shows don't have as many views and not as many comments and not as many likes. And we're not social media gurus, but for some folks that matters. because they think that that's an indicator of, and it is an indicator of some things, but it ain't the whole thing. We stand behind the shows that we put together. They're very thought out. They're very sincere. They're very conscientious. And we would like you to support that, subscribe to the YouTube channel, but also tell the people that you respect about True Love Movement and have them to look at that. The counseling is very important, but we want people to kind of get an idea about how we approach things. And we found that the previous radio shows and broadcasts and other videos and workshops and lectures and the things that are offered on the YouTube channel are a very good glimpse into who True Love Movement is and what True Love Movement does in a gentle sense, so that we don't, so that people aren't as confused about what True Love Movement is and how we do what we do. And we would love your help with it, family. If you like what we do, you like what we talk about. We talk about the work on the True Love Movement Hour. We talk about the work on True Love Movement Tuesdays, although it's a little bit different. But the actual work takes place off of social media. We're not social media or armchair revolutionaries or whatever that is. And we take it very, very seriously. But this is a great vehicle for a glimpse, an appetizer, if you will. And so share. We're abundant. Please share it.
And me and Brother Shaq, we decided that we would open up our home and let you see what we do all the time. Yeah. This is what we do. I mean, we not only talk about it, but we strategically plan, we engage, and we do what we say. Right. We live what we say. That this is not a game. This is not just.
This is not for TV.
But it's not just talk either.
It ain't just talk at all. No.
And a lot we don't say. We tone it down a whole lot. Yeah. And it's to make it palatable for our brothers to watch it, for our sisters to share it, and give people to connect with it. Mm-hmm. There's so much more. There's so much more, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So. Shanti said that the in the presence of ads, a black man was such a deep topic, and we could have went more on that. Definitely. That is for sure.
Oh yeah, I got lots of material on that one. A lot of what we're trying to do is start a conversation. Yes. We're not trying to complete the whole conversation, but we're trying to start the conversation and give it, help it along with some language, so that you can talk about it with loved ones and people you respect and people who are impacted with it. And you can borrow, our perspective, and you don't have to try to do it from scratch yourself. You can say, well, look at what they're talking about. And then people can think about it or feel how they want to feel, because we don't ever give opinions about things. I'm real big on analysis, because I'm not debating or trying to convince anybody of anything. And I'm encouraging people to do their own research and find out for themselves. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to start with what we said, we got a record of it. And you can start there, watch the show, play it with them. That was always the vision for the True Love Movement Hour, right, Mama Fiyah? Yeah. That it would be teaching tools. And we teach from it sometimes when we're, with folk. We can teach from things we've already done. So this is political education.
For the Black Nation.
For the Black Nation. Mama Fiyah coined that.
Yes.
And she's also inspired tonight. She was also the inspiration for tonight's show in terms of the topic, which is
Alchemy.
So let's get into it, Mama Fiyah. We got folks on Facebook Live. We got folks, shout out. We got Baba L over there on Instagram and Facebook Live, family. We're so glad you're here.
Yes,
we give you Alchemy for this True Love Movement Tuesdays. What that's about, Mama Fiyah?
Well, it's about mental wellness, of course. That's what we kind of orient everything toward that. Mm-hmm. And so right now we're in a portal. Yeah. We are from December to January. We are in a huge transition, and even though the calendar may not be absolute, the calendar, we are still connected to the calendar mentally. Right? Because ever since we were little, we knew our months of the year, and we knew December, and we knew New Year's and all these things. So we are in tune with something that we were taught and programmed to believe.
Right.
And so therefore in our minds we know that there is a huge shift, even though the real shift happens at springtime, right?
Right.
The real new year happens at springtime.
Yeah, this is the Georgian calendar.
Right. Gregorian or
calendar,
something of that nature. But I'm just trying to show that it's still important to us who have been aligned with it all this time.
Mm-hmm.
And so people say, you know, we have New Year's parties and they have New Year's resolutions and they have vision board parties and all these different things. And I just want to connect with the fact that now is a good time to set your intentions for the quote unquote new year,
mm-hmm.
but also to, you know, to really know our power in this.
Right.
I think, you know, I had a very profound experience this morning in the shower.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the shower, you know, as a water sign, the shower is very, any water.
Healing and revealing. Huh?
Healing and it helps me. Whether I'm dirty or not, I get in the shower.
Right on.
Because I need water. I also get in a bath, you know. The bath is a wonderful thing. And we can talk about that another time. If you ever need help with a bath, please let me know, especially if you're a water sign or have water in your chart, which we all do in some way, except for Brother Shaq.
What's that?
He's the only person that doesn't have water in his sign.
I don't have any water in my sign, but I have a beautiful shower. I don't have any water in my chart, but I have water right here with me.
Yes, and I'm very watery.
And I have a beautiful shower experience on the regular.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about my shower experience this morning. So, I'm in the shower and I'm thinking very intently about an event that I'm getting ready to throw. I'm thinking all the things that I need to do. And usually I try not to share my shower. Usually I try to be very, very
What's that mean? Share your shower? I've heard you talk about that before.
Right. So when I say don't share your shower, it doesn't have anything to do with romantic times and inviting a friend into your shower at all. This has to do with inviting thoughts of the day into your shower and being really present in the now in your shower. Giving yourself a real detailed bath or shower, giving yourself time for yourself,
right.
loving yourself in the shower, allowing yourself to relax, allowing yourself to feel the water on your skin, allowing yourself to really take time and detail your body. And so that's the don't share your shower idea. So this morning I wasn't doing that. I was actually in the shower visualizing all the things that I would do for this event. And I knew I would do them. And I knew exactly what I need to do first. You need to do this. You need to do that. I'm just thinking as I'm taking the shower. And then Spirit spoke to me loud and clear. Do you know what Spirit said to me?
What Spirit said?
That I have to visualize that same way when I'm visualizing my big dreams. In the same way, in the same matter-of-fact way. That I knew, okay, I would have to do this, I would have to do this, and I would have to do this. And so I was confident in doing, like making a list, almost like a to-do list in my head and visualizing what it would look like and Spirit said, okay, there it is. Did you see how you just did that? Now you have to do that for your big, incredible dreams.
That's right.
Right? Now, doesn't that, just in a matter-of-fact way like we know. Mm-hmm. And so guess what? That made me realize that we have to know, not believe, not think, not even feel, but know that our big dreams can happen. How do we do that? We make them.
Right.
You make them happen. You go step by step by step, knowing that it will happen, knowing that you will do these things. And the blockage is in thinking, I can't do that, or it's impossible.
Not having a sense of your power.
Not having a sense of your own power.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that, Brother Shay?
Well, I like when you share your shower, but just in this case, I understood, and but you said that before, and it makes sense. You've actually helped me with that because my shower, I take a special shower. You can always say Brother Shaq is clean, definitely clean, but particularly at this time of the year, as we're thinking about visioning and vision boards and things in preparation for, reflection of last year and in preparation for this next year, at True Love Movement, an organizational standpoint, and from us as a people standpoint, as a partnership standpoint, we're leveling up. And we're leveling up in every way for real. We're not just talking about leveling up, and we're not saying it symbolically on the new year, new you. Like, we actually feel the transition, feel the elevation. We feel it. And that's important to say we feel it in a very complex ways emotionally, not just, I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my body. Like, I feel it everywhere. And, the being able to physically manifest something is one of the most, I think, profound things for us to do as original people, because it's our gift. I mean,
yes,
we really can say
naturally.
It, and it is.
Oh man!
Like,
all
really,
day.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you
Cut me off.
But all day long, what I do is show sisters how they manifested something. Mm-hmm. Like, we celebrate their power. Right. I just remind them that they have to remember that they're powerful. Mm-hmm. And so they'll say, yeah, that position that I applied for, they called me back yesterday. And they want to give me $5,000 extra because da-da-da-da. And they'll be just like, oh, that was so great of a thing that happens. And I got to stop and say, wait, sis, hold on a second. How do you think that happened?
Right.
Remember when we sat together that time and you said that you needed to move because the people at your job was toxic and what you really wanted to do was A, B, and C. And now here it comes. And now they're giving you $5,000 extra. Right. Do you think that's just luck?
It's not luck. It's not coincidence.
Do you think that?
Right.
Like, you have, like, my sisters, black women are the most powerful because you have a magic pot.
Yes.
You have your womb. And when your womb is clear and clean, you can manifest, will manifest, right? Will manifest what it is you want. And brothers, listen, brothers manifest too.
That's right.
I'm not saying that only
this
sisters.
This ain't an either or.
No, I know it's not. I'm just talking to my sisters right now. And test it out. If you don't believe it, test it out. Right. That you are a divine alchemist sister and brother, just because of the color of your skin and the ancientness and history of your skin.
That's right. It's an indicator for sure.
That's an indicator there. And when we have negative thoughts on our minds, when we don't know the power we have, we are manifesting hurt, pain, shame, guilt. We're manifesting problems. We're manifesting disjointment and disorder, dis-ease. We're manifesting all those things just by what we're thinking, just by what we think we know.
Right. You're right.
Because it's all about the knowledge. Yeah. And I'd have a whole chapter on alchemy in the Keep It High Thoughts in the New Light book. Mm-hmm. A whole chapter. And it's a very short chapter when I talk about alchemy being a buzzword. Right. It's a buzzword right now. And that, everybody want to talk about breathing and meditation and yoga and all these new age kinds of things. What you doing over there?
I'm just breathing. I'm breathing new age.
Oh, that's good. You breathing deeply? You breathing deeply, y'all. Very good, Brother Shaq.
Right on. I got my cheap out because you gotta bring it in here and because there's a pump right there. You gotta. Oh man, it's beautiful. Yeah. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. That was good. I like that. That was.
It's True Love Movement too. See, I can do that shit, family, on True Love Movement too. I can't do all that shit on.
You get out all the sound effects and stuff like that. But I think I keep telling my sisters there's a sense of urgency for my sisters to get mind, body, spirit alignment, right? Because there is a cosmic shift. There is a real shift happening, and it's just getting bigger and larger and undeniable. It's just getting that way. And so it's like old news to be thinking of ourselves as powerless. Yes. Talking about black people in particular. It's old to be thinking of ourselves powerless, to be thinking of ourselves as poor. Right. Poor, poverty of mind and spirit. Mm-hmm. To be doing the same things that we've always done. We just cannot any longer do that. And so
it doesn't suit us. It doesn't serve us.
even though alchemy is a buzzword and everybody's talking about self-love and everybody's talking about this and that, there's a reason why that's happening. Because it's going along with the shift. Don't be afraid. I mean, as long as it resonates with you. If it don't resonate with you, that's understandable, right? But if it resonates with you, like if it makes you feel like, oh, yeah, that connects to me in some way, go for it.
Family, listen. Now you do that and you drop the mic?
I'm going to get my book.
So, look, now that I got you all in myself, listen. One of the things Mama Fiyah was, when she was alluding to about the change, the shift, the cosmic shift energetically, and the fact that people are talking about these things, even in superficial ways. We're not judging anything. People are talking about these things in very superficial ways. There's still a level of insight and foresight that's happening because intuitively we know it. And lately, it isn't something that I've never said or never thought. Those of you who have worked with us, worked with me, or been around me or us for a long time, for many, many years, know that I've always been a major critic or a critical analyst of language, of English. I do the best that I can to understand it and have command of it. And the reason I do that is not really because I'm deep. It isn't even because I'm profound or forward thinking. The fact of the matter is, I started off my schooling going to white schools with white people, so I learned how to talk around white people from the get-go. So I got socialized with a white voice early on, and in that process of the socialization, I was paying attention, I was learning and picking it up and understanding what was happening and how it was all bullshit. But I learned some things about the language, and because I had spent so much time like really, kind of picking it apart, I discovered that, it was easy for me to come to the conclusion is that, man, this shit is weak. Like, this shit is like young. It's a bastardized language. Like, they stole this shit from old languages like Latin and French and all these other things, and these made up ass words and words that got all these different meanings. This shit is designed to confuse you. And I bring it up often because I'm just, I know our people learn on repetition, is that the English language is simply not sophisticated enough to be able to convey or express what we experience as original people. We're trying to fit something so large into a very narrow thing that's just not sophisticated enough to be able to do it. And that frustrates the shit out of us. Because we be mad talking about, you don't understand. And we be seething, but it's because this is the language that of our oppressors, and the people who oppress us, we don't know what our native tongue is. And the people who oppress us gave us this language, disconnected us from our own so that we can't talk about shit that they don't know about. So dig that. So we're operating on a very low level, even on the language tip. The reason I'm bringing that in is because part of the reason why we have difficulty explaining and comprehending certain concepts is because we're trying to do it with this narrow ass, crooked ass, angled ass, limited ass language. So most of the time, we don't even do the whole thing justice. So now what we're saying is, as we're elevating because of the cosmic shift, black folks got to turn on their superpower, which is your intuition. And trust your intuition and really trust the things that you feel and that they're not steering you wrong. You may have to decipher the message, but that we'll have to communicate and operate at a much higher frequency, a much higher level than we have in the past, just so that we can get our humanity back. I mean, y'all understand what I'm saying when I say get our humanity back? Like that's why we say, hey man, you feel me? Like I want you to feel me. I don't want you to hear me. That's one level. I want you to feel me. Because I suspect if you feel the way that I feel and we can share that, we'll definitely know how to respond to one another. It is our inability to make that human connection where the confusion lives and festers, and it keeps us there, and it gets us frustrated. We stop talking to one another. We stop communicating. We do all kind of other shit. And it ain't because we're stupid people. It's because this shit is not sophisticated enough for you to be able to express and convey what you feel in your metaphysical body.
Mm-hmm. And there is a metaphysical body.
Yeah.
And that's something that we need to understand. Oh. You know, it's mysterious because it's intangible. Uh-huh. But it's tangible to you. That's because right. You can feel it. And so I don't want to get too big and too wide, but ta-da!
Look at that.
Got them both looking all fresh and nice. Yes. These are some new ones. And so for my sisters who have read Runaway Girl, this is the true story. And so how do you move from this to this? If you've read or began to read Keep It High, it's a very thick book, right? So if you've read Runaway Girl and seen the depths of sorrow, mm-hmm. you know, the depths of sorrow, the depths of depression, the depths of self-harm, just awful, you know. And the book itself is good, but the whole thing is just so sad, you know. And to get to hear empowered, ready, excited, and power really is the word. Like
P-O-W.
And so how does it happen? How do you move? And yes, it's guided by the supreme being, that which is the highest being. You know, it's guided by that. But it's not like anybody came down and did it for me. It's not like, you know, it's because of the connection with the highest power or with your highest self, the Most High, right? But it didn't do it for me. Right. It didn't do it for me. It didn't come down and work it out for me. It blessed me to know that I had so much more. I had so much more power that I didn't even understand, that I didn't even know. And through time, I began to understand that the things that I touch are blessed by my touch. Mm-hmm. The things that I think are the most important. You know, the visions that I create. This is bigger than imagination, my people.
Yes.
And we know imagination is hard for some people. Right. Right? Especially deliberately and on purpose. Visioning is different from imagination. Mm-hmm. But I think you can begin by imagining first, right. You know, before you start to vision, you know, and it's just becoming so tangible for me how this thing works. And to me, that's alchemy. When you can put a little bit of this and a little bit of that and get what it is that you want. To me, that is what alchemy is. And everyone has that power, Brother Shaq. Everyone has the power of speaking a thing and it exists, you know, of creating something that wasn't there before, mm-hmm. of teaching how that works for you. And it's time, you know, it's time for us not to be afraid of this. There's no name to this. Somebody might name it agnosticism, or somebody might name it voodoo, or like, I don't know. I mean, I think people want to try to label it and like put a little stamp on it.
Confine it to something.
Yeah, they want to put a stamp on it and these things, but you don't, you know, if you could recognize your own vibration. You know, I think I posted something that said, find yourself out. Yeah. You know how you find somebody out?
Right.
And you're like, I done found you out. Find yourself out. Yeah. Look so deeply in yourself and try to figure out the puzzle that is you. Because once you figure out the puzzle that is you,
it changes.
It's right at your fingertips. Mm. It's right at the tip of your nose. It's right in the middle of your forehead. You know, and when we know it together, we can move. We are talking about galvanizing our people with our powers that no one has as greatly as we do.
That's right.
And they go and they went and digged all in ancient Africa and they found all of these understandings, right? And they have to do all kind of wild shit. You know, they gotta kill a lamb and drink the blood, and they gotta kill virgins and kill children and wear crazy outfits and all these different things. Nah, they trying to do you.
That's exactly.
They trying to do you, what you got naturally, what you have. My sisters, what you have, my brothers, what you have, the black child. The black child is coming here ready. They're coming here ready to work. They're coming here knowing these answers and knowing it organically. And what do is we take our fear and we shut it down. We shut it down, or we spoon feed them something that was spoon fed to us that makes us scared of who we are.
Man. You said a lot there, Mama Fiyah. Scared of who we are. You know, I had the experience earlier, and I'm glad you opened the door. I'm going to go through it. This is True Love Movement Tuesdays. And you have, first I want to say that for, I don't know, at least the last 8 years that I'm aware, maybe longer, you have been talking about Afrofuturism. And very regular. We don't talk about that on the True Love Movement Hour. We don't discuss a lot of that publicly. And I know for some folk, that's just some new age conceptual, these buzzwords. Motherfuckers got words for everything. And I know this isn't that, because we've gone in great depth about visioning and Afrofuturism and that it isn't a hope thing. And it's we're creating it. Like every day we're actually actively creating it. But what has happened, I've finally grown to the point where I'm transitioning from the limitation of the historian box, moving beyond the historian box and into the Afrofuturism portal. Because my spirit said to me the other day, bro, you played out. In a loving way.
The spirit?
My spirit. He said, bro, you played out. In a loving way.
Oh, you're not played out, Brother Chad. You're not played out to me.
Well, not
no,
played.
I hear you.
Yeah, like
Bring
it was
you
time
finding
to
yourself out.
Finding myself out. That it's there's nothing wrong with me, but there's just time to look at Top Young and Jay over there on Instagram.
Hey, boo.
It's time. Like it's time, energetically time for me to shift. And in recognizing that I am played out to an extent, it's just antiquated. In other words, that my thinking has been stuck. And it's been stuck because it was, this is a growing process. And so we're all growing. But I'm actually moving beyond. Like, I don't know if you all have ever had the kind of intimate relationship with yourself where you're able to actually see the metamorphosis happen. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because that in itself is so invigorating, but it's a testament of your power. Like, that's what fasting will do. If you've ever fasted for, like we fasted with Baba Zach.
Fasting. Wow.
I just finished like a 50-day thing that I did, and I've transformed in many, many ways. And some of those ways are physical. I shed a lot of, like emotions and things that I had been holding on to, because intellectually I understand what to do. I have the tools and I have the skills, but emotionally, what I find out is there's still so much work to do, because the emotional part you have to look a lot closer to. And you can also hide a lot of the emotional struggles through some of the physical things. So, it's kind of like how people will say, I'm all right, ain't nothing wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? And because look at me. And they stop there, but they don't look really deep. They don't find themselves out. I have learned that my greatest joy and greatest real growth comes from investigating and interrogating myself. And, I do that fearlessly. And I have done it and continue to do it. And I take real dedicated time to do that. And man, when I go in there and I see what's there, and, I reconcile with some really hard things. So I had the door open for my spirit to say, you know that shit played out, right? And what it was essentially saying is that it's time to move. The sister right here is the brightest teacher that I ever know, my teacher. And I can tell you, I can assure you that so much of my growth, my own personal growth and development, is because of her teaching, her healing abilities, she's a magnificent human being, but she's so much more than a human being. And she's tapped into that. And because she's tapped into that, she's a benefit to everybody here on the planet. So I'm so honored to be on the planet with her here at this particular time. And I have a very divine role, in her life and the alchemy that we're talking about. And so, and as I'm lifting her up, this is not me lifting her up and putting myself small and saying, no, I'm saying that that's what we are. We are collaboratively and collectively, because we have a sense of our own individual power, so we can alchemize that.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier about our people, and as our people come together and move, but our people really do have to, you also said, find yourself out. You've got to find yourself out, because there ain't gonna be no us until you get your shit really firmly together, not superficially together, not together the way white folks be talking, not in a United States white organizational culture frame of mind together, but authentically get your humanity back. That's what I'm talking about. When I mean getting your shit together, I'm meaning get your humanity back. And part of the first thing you have to do is acknowledge that your humanity has been taken from you, that this has been a dehumanizing experience. And that takes some time to wrestle with. We don't want to feel, because we got to go back in that pain. We got to go back in that ancestral pain. And man, we fucking tired of hurting. So we kind of turned off by that. But on the other side of that, and to give this some physical form, not physical form. So I was working with a brother today who wanted more than anything else to become a pilot. So he's taking pilot lessons now. And not thanks to me, that was already being done. But so as he's taking pilot lessons, and so a lot of the work that we do, and just so you understand, Black men think about social emotional support and that kind of mental health work, if at all, in a very event oriented way, more like a repair service. Like, okay, so I this shit broke, I need to go get it fixed. I go over there, get it fixed, I'm good. But what is really happening, and nothing happens without a process. And because we understand processes are energetically feminine, we've been socialized as Black men to stay far away from anything like that. And so, and we live in America where anything that is process driven, which is feminine, is down pressed and disregarded and devalued. The masculine and hypermasculine, the event-based value system has been upheld, and it's reaffirmed all around us. Now, we may not have language for this. We may not have really looked at it. We may not could even explain that shit, but we know how shit works. Like, we want our shit in the microwave. I'm going to put that shit in there. I'm going to get it. I'm going to keep going, because I got plenty of shit to do. I ain't got time to be fucking around with all this. But again, we came here through a process. We were conceived through a process, and we hate fucking processes. So getting your humanity back is a process, brothers. And it does take some time. And so as the brother and I were working, I was explaining, I said, this shit is like flight school, bro. You don't go one time and know how to fly a fucking plane. This is flight school. And the brother was like, all right. And so we started talking, and we were, what I do is I craft the conversation to who I'm talking to, because that's the skill. That's the connection. And so I was explaining to the brother in aeronautical terms, and he's looking at me like, nigga, you ain't no pilot. How do you know that? Because I don't have to be a pilot to understand about gradients, which is the gradual ascent as well as the descent, and how you fly above the turbulence and all that other shit, because you got forces acting on you. And you have a great time while you're above the clouds looking down on them, and all the kind of weather and all kind of shit is breaking loose, but it's below you, but it's still happening. The thing about it is, you run out of fucking gas. You're going to have to land that plane. And in order to land that plane, you got to go back down through that fucking turbulence. You got to go back down to all of that wind and all of that shit. So you have to be prepared and skilled to go down there because there's going to be some resistance. The thing is, though, that's what you have to go through to land. And then you develop the skill to go up and down as you please because you learn how to navigate. That's what you're doing when you're flying. You're navigating. And you're not just navigating by what you can see. You have to read the instrumentation. And so we had all kinds of things. And the brother was like, man, I got that shit. Like, okay, I'm hip. And that's what it took. It took that to get the brother to say, oh, the process. And now we have to continue and continue and continue because we know repetition is what really causes us to internalize a thing. I just shared that because there is some resistance to us helping ourselves. Yes, I don't fix not now, motherfucker. I want people to be clear. I don't fix nobody. Nobody. It's not the Negro whisperer. That ain't what this is. But we are skilled at helping our folks gain a sense of their own power, determining who they are. And our work specifically is helping them get their humanity back. Mm-hmm. Because we know hurt people like a motherfucker. Y'all know that. But heal people. Imagine what heal people could do for our people. So that's why I wanted to say, you got to handle your business before you do anything. That's real. It's not being selfish. It's being responsible. Because I want to say this too publicly. So many folks that's always talking about, man, black folks need to come together. Those motherfuckers are wanting to hide while you're doing the work. They want to benefit from what the collective of black people are doing, and they don't want to contribute. So we're saying be responsible and find out how you fit into this thing and be the absolute best at it. Because we need everybody to do their thing. But you have to discover what your thing is before you worry about what the fuck our thing is. Discover what your thing is. And what I say about that is discover why you're alive on the planet. What is the reason you're here right now in this time? If you can't tell me that, you can't tell yourself that at any given moment, you are in the way. You are in the way. You are part of the problem. You are part of the stopping of the rise because you just fucking out here. And you in somebody else's way that's really trying to get their thing together, trying to get their humanity back. So you gotta find out why you're here, why the planet is gonna be different because you are even alive in this time.
That's right. Your purpose and your impact.
That's right.
And so you talked about flying, and I'm glad you used that metaphor for that specific brother. Mm-hmm. And I've worked with that brother in the past too.
That's right.
So we working together.
Got together.
And so I got a little interlude that says, if you want to fly, open and heal your heart because that's where your wings are. There's so many people, there's so many songs and everybody, I believe I can fly.
Uh-oh.
And I don't like bringing up that, man.
Don't pee on nobody, just fly with it.
So I mean, it's the wings to fly.
Right.
I'm flying now, like no doubt about it that I'm flying because when Runaway Girl came, I was drowning.
Right.
I was sinking in quicksand, and now I'm flying. How does that happen?
Right on.
How does that happen? And so I want to drop like a little jewel. I was the other day, spirit is so beautiful and it talks to me. It's the way I create things. So I'm in a car and I'm like, I'm just like making stuff up. And I said, I got a message for the masses, yay. And I won't share it with the children, something like that I was saying, right?
Not for y'all asses.
I got a message for the masses, yay. And I want to share it, okay? And that's what I said. My spirit stopped me. That spirit said, no, queen.
Uh-oh.
You don't want to, you will. See the difference?
That's right.
That's a jewel. And I tell people that all day. They say, oh, I wanna, and I tell them, stop. I tell them all day. But Spirit told me, in that moment, I'm making something up. I'm enjoying myself on the way to work. Right. Spirit stopped me right in that moment, said, you don't want to, because when we on the loop of wanting something, when we're on the loop of desiring something, that's what it will be. You desire it.
Right.
And you will live your life constantly desiring something versus saying will.
Right.
Will is alchemy. Will is saying, you're making the choice for your life, using not only your language and your mouth and your words, but using your mind.
Right.
Using your mind. Do y'all understand the difference between want and will?
Do you?
The vibrational difference when you say, I want to have a beautiful family one day, versus I will have a beautiful family one day, right? This will change the dynamic of yourself as an alchemist. Mm-hmm. It will totally you will begin to create something. Go ahead.
No. Before you do, shout out, we got Sister Ronika watching, Christopher
Williams.
Hey, my sister What's happening,
Queen?
Brother? I wanted, in addition to everybody else and some of the folk we don't see on the screen, when you're talking about want and will, in declaration and declaring, let's take like what we are oriented to. I talked with somebody today about that phrase people say, you got to meet people where they are. And if you're not careful, you'll misunderstand that and think that that's like some kind of talking down or belittling or making presumptions about people. That's not what the fuck that means. When you meet people where they are, you're recognizing their location.
Yes, you're recognizing you've been there.
Yeah, you're recognizing their location. And so, for example, that means if somebody's sitting down and you're trying to engage with them, meeting them where they are is sitting with them, not standing over them and preaching to them, but sitting with them and listening to them and asking them what they need. You see what I'm saying? That's a completely different dynamic. So meeting someone where they are is that's the other thing. And the idea of declaring, like you say, that's what will means.
Yes.
So meeting many of our people who are watching and people who will watch where you are in America, we got taught about the Declaration of Independence.
Come on.
America declared her independence from Britain. So there was some shit. It was a document. The motherfuckers wrote it up. It was very detailed. This is what the fuck it's going to be. They declared that shit. They went to war to make it so, and have built this thing that we're caught up in since. That's the power of a declaration. And you have to, and symbolically and energetically, you have to make a declaration to tell the universe that you're serious.
Shay.
You have to tell the universe that you're
Declare
serious.
your role as an alchemist in this experience.
Right.
Declare your independence.
That's why you don't want for anything. Wanting is like trying. That is just complete bullshit.
Yeah, you're going to always want it.
Either you're going to do it or you're not doing it, but you're not trying any fucking thing. There really is no space in trying and doing for those of us who are grown people. When a baby or child is learning how to walk and we're encouraging them and they fall, we say, try again. But that is a developmentally appropriate thing. We move beyond the thought of trying and into the doing because you are a self-determining person.
Yes.
You are a self-determining. That's what that is, and that ain't just for Kwanzaa. You're a self-determining person. But we know because niggas be, wanting to be Kujichagulia for Kwanzaa, and then for the rest of the year, I can't do it. It's too hard, bro. Man, them motherfuckers, can't. It ain't gonna happen.
Be careful of that word.
Right.
Can't will destroy your alchemy.
Right.
If you want to say can't, you stop yourself in that moment and ask yourself why. Why do I feel like I can't do something?
Right.
Please be careful of that word because you won't. Mm-hmm. You say you can't and you won't. Listen, your words, they're very, very, very powerful.
And it's a bullshit language.
Yeah,
it's a bullshit language.
But I mean, it's all because we
decide,
right? We decide that we're going to use this language. We decide that it has power, and we decide just like we decide on the calendar that this is a new year. Right. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how the portal opens up because we decided. We decide to give it power. Anything you decide to give power will happen. I guarantee you because you got it. Let me read this. This is from Keep It High. Thoughts in a New Light.
Right on.
This is page Oh, Lord. I don't have my
55.
glasses.
Page 55. You want to borrow my glasses? You can see. You talk about Afrofuturism, baby. You look through those, and you're
All
gonna
right,
see
yeah.
everything
You
that's gonna
saw
happen.
55. Page 55.
Right.
Uh-oh, would somebody say something about Yoda?
Yeah, that's
do or
Christopher
do
Williams.
not. There is no try. Love it.
And
Yoda.
we know Yoda was black. Everybody, just be clear.
I got Yoda on my altar for many different reasons. Okay.
Uh-oh,
So
now
it
we
says
talking.
here, we are the original people. Page 55.
Wow.
We are the original people indigenous to this planet in which all people were born from. If we knew this fact and the vastness of all we gave to the world, then we would feel powerful indeed. Because they purposely lied to us about our truth and we believe it, there reigns black chaos. In our spirits, we know, don't we? Our spirits are silenced by the extreme trauma that we have collectively experienced, as well as individually endured. Chaos is where we are, and even in chaos, we are resilient people. We are still here, fighting and struggling. It seems like we are standing still. How do we move? How do we rise? How do we win? Knowledge of self and intentional alchemy. I personally, I personally define alchemy as the putting together of thoughts to create action that creates something brand new. When alchemy is conscious, it is the highest form of human creation. It creates a movement that is unseen, metaphysical. We have been taught through so-called white supremacy and its tool of religion to fear black magic. Most things that are black are seen as bad, and magic is seen as a lie, sleight of hand, or trickery. According to Christianity, it is the devil's work, or seen as witchery. And folks better stay far from it, or the pits of hell you go. This is a lie to keep us away from who we really are. Black magic has its roots in ancientness. African religions, cultures like Vodun and Ifa are black magic. These religions have gotten a bad reputation on purpose to keep black folks away from their true power. Alchemy, being creators of life.
Word.
Then I give you a meditation, a beautiful meditation. You know, I think we get scared because white people have taken these ancient powers and this ancient magic and have taken it and bastardized it and screwed it all up.
But they use it.
Oh, they use it, but they got to do all kind of wild, crazy shit in order to be able to use it. We don't have to do all
They
those
use it
things.
and keep us away from
They
it.
used it and turned it into something and bastardized it. They made it into something, a shell. It's like a human being and a skeleton. Right?
You mean like real sugar and artificial sweetener?
Yes.
Got it.
I mean like a actual human, a beautiful human body, and then a skeleton. It's not what it really is.
Right.
You know, it is just part of it. It's part of what it really is, you know? And they've taken it and in order to like be able to use it like we do, they got to do all kind of wild shit with it.
And
you know?
Yeah, it'd be real. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and so I think it's important. And my sisters, and look, my sister Ranika says, black magic brought Haitians to their revolution. Listen, we're not ready for the revolution. We are only ready for a personal revolution. We are only ready for, then once the personal revolution happens and we come together, my people, that's when the revolution happens.
Yeah, let's just focus on
that's when the revolution happens. Listen, when we talk about rise up, yeah, we talking about, you know, bringing our chakra up and self-mastery and the Christ consciousness and our crown and all these things. We're talking about that. But we're also talking about the real rise up. When we have the weapons that we need, my people, the weapon is your mind. It's the only weapon you truly need. And listen, I'm clear. Spirit has shown me beautiful things. I'm on a mission. This is like what is supposed to be happening. We're supposed to be bringing these understandings right at the beginning that a personal revolution must happen. Personally, you've got to understand who you are. You've got to find yourself out. Once you find yourself out, that means you're going to see things you don't like. Fix them.
Definitely.
Fix the things you don't like about yourself and about how you've lived life. Fix them. You have the ability to fix them. If there's something about you that you would like to change and you feel like you cannot, then that's the part of you that's going to add power. That is the pain that you have to transform to power. Trust.
Transmute.
Yes.
Transmute.
Transmute. You don't like transform?
I do like transform, but I was just talking about being consistent with the whole alchemy and the alchemist and the transmuting was exactly what you were saying, transforming, but taking something and then refining it to essentially redefining it.
Come on, Brother Shaq.
You know what I'm saying? Which you have the power to do.
How does one move? Oh, we forgot to say to our Instagram
family.
All right, baby.
So
I love you. Good night.
So yeah.
Tell your brother too. So, how does one move? How does one move from here to here? And if we give all the mystery God all the credit, then you don't have any power in that. That's and right. Listen, I understand the Most High. I understand the concept of the Most High, Brother Shaq. Like, and so yes, the Most High did magic and work for me, but no one came down to save me.
That's right.
Blessed me enough to know I could save myself.
That's right. Because there ain't nobody coming. And the idea that someone else has to do this for you puts you in a situation of wanting for it. And we just talked about what wanting will do. Your ass will be wanting for it. And that is the whole concept of you wanting is a very limiting kind of thing, because it reduces your capacity to create for yourself what you do desire, what you will have. Like, we're not just talking. See, the thing about this bastardized bullshit language is, as Bobby Emile explained, that's what the spelling is. You are spelling. So the shit that we're saying, we are creating with the words. So these words have power. They have a particular vibration because that groove is there. That groove, like that old song used to go, that groove is in the heart. So when someone says something and it vibrates a certain way,
I like that.
It has a meaning to it. And so we're talking about the power to refine and redefine those things in a way that bring forth our humanity, our individual humanity. So now we're talking not theoretical shit. We're talking about skill building. We're talking about skills and tools that allow you to self-determine. These are the kinds of things that you are discouraged as original people from remembering. We're fucking with this language. So let me tell you, the word member, and you can look this up. The word member as a verb means to assemble. The word member as a verb means to assemble. So if you are remembering, we know re is to do again. That means you are reassembling something. So if you're reassembling something, you can't reassemble something that you're not already in possession of. So the rise and the work comes from you reassembling the pieces of your humanity that have been strode all over the place trying to survive this 400-year oppression. See, that's what we have done with the trauma we have, as a brother and I were building earlier today, working on it. He talked about he was very proud, as I was maybe 20-something years ago, of my ability to compartmentalize. Like, that's how I dealt with shit. I just put that shit over there because I ain't got time for that. And I explained to him, as a man 25 years wiser, that compartmentalization is like the nitric oxide of denial. Compartmentalization is the nitric oxide.
Wait, what is nitric oxide?
So nitric oxide dilates the vessels so that you have more blood flow. So that's what I'm saying. When you compartmentalize these things, you're definitely denying them, but you're arranging them in a way, and you build monuments of shit that you just ain't feeling confident that you can tackle.
Wow.
You know, I say that all the time, that a person only confronts a thing to the extent that they have a sense that they can resolve it. If you don't think you can do anything with it, you just won't fuck with it. So think about if you're not feeling powerful and you have internalized that you ain't shit, can't do shit for yourself, ain't gonna be shit, and you're not the shot caller. You ain't about to confront nothing. You ain't about to, you gonna, all kind of shit gonna come, and you're gonna be like, man, fuck all that, I can't do that. So then you get into escapism. And so you don't ever deal with it. It persists, but you just don't deal with it. I listened to a brother tell me yesterday who does some very heavy lifting in terms of emotional work in the form of rescuing and first responding and seeing people. He says that he told somebody, because they have to debrief after some of these traumatic things on these calls, and he said, look, man, you got to put that shit in the closet and keep on fucking going. He said, that's what I do. He said,
then what happened when the closet busts clean open, so, like, it's no more room.
So listen, he says he's been doing that on the job for 25 years, and that's how he has coped. You see how that denial is a coping mechanism in that we employ when we don't know what else to do, but we still have to go on. I explained that's the same kind of thinking that brought us to laying down aspects of our humanity to survive what happened on that plantation. The denial that it's happening because we're not equipped to deal with it. And so we put that there. We compartmentalize 400 years of all of this shit. And so the shift that's happening now is bringing us back to that. We've only been off this plantation. We were on the plantation 90 years longer than we've been off it. So we're just coming to the point, which is logical and reasonable. We're just coming to a point where we're able to really start confronting these things and analyzing what happened to us collectively. And we're still moving into how we are coming out of that. Our role here, those of you who are alive here right now on the planet, we have a divine role.
Yes, we do.
To move our people, to move ourselves and the rest of our people from where we've been to where we're going. This is our window. That's what we're doing because our descendants are counting on us not being coward motherfuckers. Okay? But we will only confront that which we are confident that we can resolve. And where we get the confidence in our ability to resolve it is by doing the work on ourselves.
Yes,
because that's proof positive that the shit can be done, but you can't really believe that or internalize that until you have the courage to do that. And shit, it's you we talking about. I ain't talking about go fucking with nobody. Examine you. Once you have really done that, find yourself out, go get your humanity, that'll bring you through the history, and it'll bring also the empathy there. And so you'll be able to recognize your brother and your sister as yourself. All of those things that you learn in religion that are superficial and philosophical, you'll be able to employ because they'll be coming from an authentic place. And then
treat others the way you want to be treated. That golden rule that can actually happen through this.
But you got to treat yourself first. It ain't no punk ass shit where you got to love everybody. No, the fuck you don't. You don't have to love everybody. You just have to love yourself. If you can get that done, the other things will happen automatically and organically. That is your responsibility because you go out there and trying to love everybody, and you got to love those that curse you. No, the fuck you don't. Think about who wins when that happens. Think about who wrote that shit. Think about what this really is about. Think about who benefits. That's all you got to do is ask yourself, well, who benefits if I do that shit? It ain't about being against nobody, but you can't advocate and be for yourself if you don't know your goddamn self. And you'll never know yourself if you're scared of yourself.
One of my sister, Sonny Patterson, wrote one of her favorite quotes. Mama. It says, "There is no one coming. God sent you."
Word.
And I'm clear, like, the mission is real. The mission came from God. I am clear of how it's supposed to be, of what I'm supposed to do, and I'm doing it. It's feeling good. It's feeling good.
I didn't put the disclaimer up there. So listen, family, we are not doing what the dominant culture does. We are not imposing anything. We are not telling you need to do something.
Yes, we don't force.
We're not saying We're right and you're wrong. We're not doing none of that shit. My brother Charlie V laughs at me all the time, but somewhere organically, I don't know when this was. This was somewhere throughout this year. The shit came out of my mouth. Well, man, do it or don't fucking do. I mean, and it wasn't a mad thing, but it's like I'm not convincing or trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm not selling anybody anything. That's not coming from an ego place. It's just saying that's not what this is. This really is here for you if you like it, if you're ready for it.
Yeah, take what resonates.
Take what resonates.
If something resonates, take that. If something doesn't resonate, throw it away. It's not for you.
But we're not in this dichotomous, I'm right, so you're wrong thing. That's how come I'm saying it. You know, I said the other day, there ain't no debate. There's nothing to debate. That's foolishness.
Remember we did that that True Love Movement Hour, Right to Us?
I remember
we talked about righteousness. Right. Righteous sounds just like right to us.
Right. We did right.
And so we move in our lives when it's right to us.
Right.
You know, we're guided by being navigated by our spirits, navigated to free.
Right.
Navigate to freedom or liberation, you know. I won't say freedom because it's a spelling thing, you know, like we ain't talking about the freedom that America offers.
Right.
You know, home of the free, it says. That's freedom because we know none of us are free.
No.
As long as we're here and as long as we're under the rule of people who hate us and people who have tried every which way to destroy us, we're not free. We're not experiencing freedom, like being free. That's why I like to call it either free or liberation. The only two things, you know. And so, Brother Shecky, mind if I read some more?
Of course not.
Okay, listen, this is from Keep It High.
Family, I feel like some of our brothers and sisters who are part of various religious sects, when the person, reads, one person reads and the motherfucker be like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I got that dynamic, but my chest, you may not be able to see her while she's reading because my chest is so far out because I'm so proud. You understand? Because this was in this woman's mind. It was gifted to her and she received it. She had a response for this. Her message she was getting and what she's reading is her response ability. See how that language shit is her ability to respond to the message that she got. She's transforming. Right here.
Now let me see your glasses.
Okay. See,
He's right.
I'm a supporter.
You're so supportive. And you look handsome without your glasses, Brother Shaq.
Well,
I look cute with your glasses on.
I can't see it, so I have to believe.
All right. Through the story of my own healing, I will prove how alchemy is real. Mm-hmm. Through my personal transformation, I had to accept, please understand, and maybe take some mental notes. I had to accept what I had done to my own life. I had to move beyond blaming people for hurting me and shaming myself for what I had done. This meant accepting what I had done to my own life, all of it. Things that had made it terrible and things that had made it good. Acceptance made me see my power, the power of alchemy. The bad things that happened to me planted a seed of bad feelings about myself, which in turn affected the decisions I made and therefore the habits I formed. I kept punishing myself for something I thought was my fault. Many sexual abuse victims think there was something that they did to deserve what happened. This phenomena is what creates the cycle of self-hate, hypersexuality, and self-harm that sexual abuse victims go through. I created a damaged life from the damage I had undergone so early in my life. I allowed the abuse to linger in my thoughts about myself and in my actions. Then I got ready. I mean, really ready for a serious change. I knew I couldn't go on living the way I lived, thinking the way I thought. I had my babies that I needed to be well for. I had the rest of my life to live in dignity, grace, and power. So if someone planted a seed of hate in me, how could I plant a seed of self-love in me? How could I turn my life around? Intentional alchemy. I had to change all of my thoughts, words, and actions. I couldn't straddle the fence. I had to be all in. I changed my friends and my diet. I found healthy ways to cope with stress and healthy ways to celebrate my triumphs. I got back in touch with who I was before I was abused. Once I began to change, I started feeling better, more powerful. Once empowered, I started seeing how, if I kept the knowing that I am that I am worthy, brilliant, lovable, and capable, all of the wonderful things at the core of who I am, constantly churning around in my head, was the key to help me remember it, to walk in it.
Wow.
It was there to help me remember it in my decision making and habit creation. With my thoughts, words, and actions changing so fundamentally, my life started changing. My life started to feel like I'd always wanted it to feel, like I am in control of it. Through this process, I realized self-control is the only real control we have. Self-control helps us see our power. Exercising self-control as if it is a separate muscle helps us see the realness of alchemy. Was it magic that I turned my life around and became a different person? Did it happen in a snap of my finger or a wave of a magic wand? Changing took time. I liken the change of turning your life around to turning a huge ship around to go the opposite direction. You can't just turn a ship like you turn a corner in a car. It is a process. However, once a ship is on the right course, it's full speed ahead. You might say, that isn't alchemy. Then define alchemy for yourself. Just know that you are powerful enough to change everything about yourself right now.
So that was wonderful.
Thank you, Brother Shaq.
You know, and I remember editing parts of the book and reading it, and every time I hear it, it's still so useful to me because, and not just because you're here with me, but just what you offer through it. If someone will listen with their heart, like really feel. That's what I'm saying, that you're using these words, and these are the right words, the rightest words that are there. But if you can connect with the spirit of what's being said, you can have an appreciation for the sharing that's going on, Mama Fiyah. And the fact that you're offering and have offered yourself up yet again in 2 books, 2 volumes, a glimpse of your story. And the benefit of your story is that it's relatable. You know, you said something the other day about the heartbreak that you experienced, because you just talked about sexual abuse and all that, but the heartbreak and your first heartbreak with your dad.
Yeah.
And you know,
because we did that show in the presence and absence of black men.
And so many brothers have been talking to me about that show, you know, because real conversations. And a brother and I spoke today about it at length, and you know, we were very honest about the struggles of being a good black man, finding the goodness in ourselves as black men, and then this idea of a black father and all of the challenges that go along with that. And so I was sharing with him that I, you know, just in very recent years, had finally gotten the courage to commit to telling my children the truth. And of course, you know, there was some really difficult things that occurred that inspired, that rather motivated me to do that. But you know, sometimes it's not so much how it happens, it's the necessity for it to happen, because that was something that they deserved, and it was something that I needed to confront and work through. And it, you know, in the process of it, I realized why I wasn't fully honest with them. I realized, you know, how my mother had been, you know, deceptive with me, and, you know, just understanding all of these things that have been made to be normative behavior that I was doing yet again to, you know, another generation that was in my care, and that, you know, I'm preparing them to bring forth, you know, our descendants, my descendants, and so forth. and so that was a very liberating thing to do, to make that commitment. It's also been very liberating to make good on that commitment. So here's what I did. I spoke with my youngest daughter about the show. Not just the show, but the concept of the show and the inspiration behind the show. And what me and the brother were talking about is that in doing that, one of the things I was explaining was that we know that particularly for daughters, there is a very fantastic fantasy sort of idea that daddy is Superman and he's infallible and, he's this large thing,
Yeah.
this large entity. And what I realized is with the likelihood of what we're up against as a people and the challenges of navigating as a black man with limited resources, and I'm talking about the financial kind, I'm talking about the emotional kind, I'm talking about every kind of resource, not strictly money, but all resources that we are needed to be in possession of to alchemize whole healthy human beings.
Yes.
That the likelihood of us being able to access that, we're going to disappoint our daughters. There is such a likelihood that we're going to disappoint our daughters. A very well known brother, I saw him, I also saw him yesterday too, but we were at something recently and he broke down and he had some trouble and everybody knew and he didn't tell his daughter, and his daughter said to him, "Why you didn't talk to me?" And he says, "I'm trying to protect you." And she's like, "It's on the fucking news, in the beauty parlor, everybody else knows it. Why you didn't talk to me?" And that just kind of reinforced it for me that we have the power or the capacity to disappoint, to let down, to hurt, to break the hearts of our daughters in the course of trying to do our level best with what we're working with. And that whole thing that's rooted in something that's not really real is dangerous. And so my commitment to saying to my daughter that, baby, there were times when you were small and there were times in the past when I didn't have all that I thought I should have, and I felt really badly about that, and I felt guilty, I felt shame, I felt all those kinds of things, that I didn't come around. There were moments where that was the case. And she said, "Daddy, I never knew that." I said, "I know you didn't, but I said, I wanted you to know because I want you to understand that at any given time, I'm doing my absolute best. You're doing your absolute best, that your mama is doing her best and has done her best." And I said, because we don't look at our parents that way. We have expectations of what our parents should be like, what our experience as children should be like. And it's just idealized. A lot of that shit comes from, I don't know where the fuck it comes from, but I know typically we have that. Much of it's rooted in poverty and lack, to be real with you. But somehow that our parents are going to make a way out of no way. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine for us to think that. But in the times when they're not able to do that, the pressures are so high that we may back ourselves into a corner where we can't be all the way real. And so what I have shared with her is, I shared that with her because I wanted her to know that I love you. I love you every day, all day. And my highest thought and the desires of my heart is that you and your sister are healthy, well, and wise, and preparing to bring forth a quality descendants that are going to improve the condition of not only our family lineage, but all of our people. And that I am committed to doing my part in it. And that, it's not going to always look the way people say it ought to look. And it may not look the way white folks have shown us or told us it's supposed to go. And that it's very complex and that there's all kind of shit happening. But and there's not excuses being made, but I want her to stay very realistic in her expectations, and then connected on a very human level to say that my daddy is a man, not Superman, but a man, and that doesn't take anything away from who I am. And that Superman, we know what happened to fucking Superman, right? If anybody remember Superman was fucking infallible, but we remember Superman passed on. He fucking got paralyzed and he died. So the thing about it is, though, and I know every black man who's watching this, every black man who's ever had a child, but particularly a daughter, You want to be larger than life. You want to be, baby, whatever you need, I got it. You want to be the ultimate protector. And there are moments in time where a great many of us enjoy that. And do you know something, family? I'm gonna level with you. That ain't got fuck to do with our daughters. That's got the shit to do with our ego. Because you feel better when, you got that shit lined up like that. And also, you also feel better when people know you do and they'll praise you and celebrate you for that. Because we all know ain't shit motherfuckers. And I'm using that term just because we understand that term. That, people, men who are ain't shit or ain't shit niggas and who whatever. And if you're not that and you remove yourself from that, you want it to be known and you want to be recognized that I go hard or whatever they want, I got it, and baby, I always, blah, blah, blah. But we be killing ourselves trying to keep that up, and oftentimes we still don't do it. And when we don't do it, we disappoint and we break hearts. And when we break those hearts, they're chasing us. They're trying to locate us in the men that come behind us. You know what I'm saying? I've had both of my daughters to tell me that the boyfriends they selected reminded them of me. And so that really
happens.
You know what I'm saying? It happens. And so, but
when you realize you're creating that.
Right. So let me just tell you, baby, so that way when your daddy breaks it down for you, this is what's really happening and this is what has happened. And I'm telling you the truth because it's disrespectful to lie to you. Only a coward lies to you. So you need to know this about your daddy. You need to know this is, so if I can do that and set that standard, then I can feel comfortable because I understand that they can experience other people and understand that, hey, these are people. And these are people who are going through shit, people who are dealing with the system, people who are, got all kind of stuff on them. And however they're responding right now might not even be about me. They got their own shit that they're trying to deal with. And they're living and doing the absolute best they can. Just like I tell them, you, and those of you who are watching, are doing the best you can right now with what you got to work with.
Yeah.
And that as we get our humanity back, we're able to recognize that in one another. And we don't have these unrealistic expectations for people to do shit for us that we're not even brave enough to do for ourselves because we haven't confronted the shit that's between us. So that you've inspired me to have those kinds of caliber conversations with my daughter, and I realize that because that's why I'm witnessing it. Like it isn't a coincidence. My highest self, my heart's desire, saying that I want to do this, that I'm compelled to do this, and I may need help or guidance, and you present to me, well, this is what it needs to look like, because this is what happens inevitably and invariably. And guess what? I just remember, because I know that's what the fuck happens. I know, because I've been, on the other side of this, Mama Fiyah. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's some alchemy.
Yes, it is.
That's some alchemy.
Just the opening up your heart to say, I'm going to learn. I want to try something different. I want to know some things, Yeah, and you've taught me so much too. I tell you, you taught me how to really love a black man. We must love our black men and love them for real, and love them through and encourage them to go deeper. Encourage them to look at themselves very deeply. But of course, you wouldn't know any of that unless you did it.
Right.
Unless you actually did it. Because
it, right.
Black men are powerful.
Yes.
And when they begin looking at themselves, when, the teacher and then the student, when is the student
is ready?
I'm just saying the student teaches the teacher.
Oh yeah.
When they got it. And so he's taught me so much too. Taught me how to love and trust and honor the black man. And I've never loved a black man before. All the relationships I've been in, I've never loved a black man before. It's like I was loving the idea of him. I wasn't loving him for real. Loving his every part of him, the sensitivity. Knowing that, never framing like he's been through so much. You know, he's been through so much. It's always like, I've been through so much, you know? And then to actually say, he's been through so much. We've been through so much. So when we speak to each other, we speak to each other kindly and with love. And you know, like I say all the time, we powerful people. We are each individually are powerful people.
Definitely.
And we're so powerful that we could destroy each other.
Definitely.
And we're making a conscious decision. We're alchemizing, creating together.
Conscious.
We have created so many things together, and we will continue to create together because we're powerful like that. If you're powerful enough to destroy a relationship, a family, you know, the list goes on and on, each other, if you're powerful enough to destroy, you are powerful enough to create. It's just a switch. It's a switch in your mind, heart, and spirit. It's a switch there. And that's what we've done. And so when you see the products of True Love Movement, you're seeing the creation of two people that have decided to love each other for real.
Alchemy. Transforming. Can I have a history, a week history moment? Not a week history, but a history moment real quick.
Yes.
So when you said just now about the destroying and the destructive, or the potential to destroy.
Yeah.
I do want to give us some historical context on that. And the reason I'm saying that is, like, our nature as original people is to create. You can check all the history. We are builders. We are creators. We are not destructive. This appetite for destruction that we have picked up in this oppression. We have picked up watching and mimicking and wanting to be like our oppressors. It is not our way. That is the reason why we are so sought after, because we create out of nothing. We make a way out of nowhere.
Come on,
we make
Shay.
$1 out of 15 cents. They give us scraps for shit and we turn it into gourmet meals. Like, it is what we do. It is not a side skill. You know what I'm saying, Mama Fiyah? It ain't like we went to a class for it. It is innate in our DNA.
Yes.
So we don't require all of these new, all of these things. We don't require that shit that they got to do, that linear shit. That's not us. And so because of that, and we're also a people who historically come from abundance, okay? Yes. 91% of the people on the planet are people of color. I want y'all to understand the energy of that. This is not Brother Shaq's opinion. This is according to the World Census numbers. And the last time I checked, nobody black was even in charge of gathering that data. So that ain't nothing biased on our people. But this is information available to you so that you can understand we are plentiful on the planet. We think in terms of abundance. We operate from an abundant place, not scarcity and lack. That's not our nature. We've been corrupted, we've been infected because we've been oppressed. So I'm just bringing the history in there because we need the historical context.
Yes, we do.
We're not choosing to just be destructive, very limiting, narrow-minded, scared motherfuckers. That's not who we are by nature. The challenge is, in this oppression, black people, so-called black people, because we didn't determine and say that we are black people. That's not our shit.
That's right.
That too has been put on us.
You can call us the powerful ones.
So we have to have the context, frame of mind, for our sanity to remember we do not know who we are healthy. We don't know who we are with our full humanity. We've not reconnected with that. So that everything that we're doing, everything that we're thinking about, every way that we're moving inside of an oppressive racist construct that dehumanizes us, that persistently re-stimulates 400 years worth of trauma. That don't mean don't try, because your humanity demands that you do. But just to remember, so that if it's difficult, if the shit ain't working how you see it on TV, if it ain't working for you how it worked for white folks, just understand ain't nothing wrong with you. But you do have to have the historical context to know what was done and where you are locate yourself in it.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you'll be sane, family. Just so you'll be sane as you move to the future, because that's where we going. Because
yes.
I ain't about to be played out. I want to be played in.
Well, you know, Brother Shaq, you brought the history, and that is so real. And so is the future.
Yes.
The future is real. The future is just tomorrow. Like, you can turn it around in the future.
That's
the future means a powerful, powerful you and a powerful, powerful black nation. Do we ever take the time to visualize that?
Mm-hmm.
Do we ever take the time to visualize what your life will be and what your life will look like? And then when we all come together as powerful people, what that will look like? Do you even take the time to think about the future of black people?
Right.
Or the future of powerful people? You know, like, what do we call ourselves? We call ourselves what we want to call ourselves.
That's right.
We call ourselves who we really are. You know, and like, I spend time a lot just sitting around visualizing what will happen to me. What will happen to me? What will happen to my children? What will happen to my children's children? And I enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I just like laying back and thinking deeply about all the seeds that I've planted. All the seeds that I've planted and all the seeds that I've planted in them. Right. To understand who they are. They do not, you know, and like, we can talk about oppression all day, but soon we need to stop talking about it.
Oh, we about to cut that off. For 2019, we won't be talking about the oppression anymore.
Well, I mean, we got to meet people where they are, Brother Shaq.
Sure.
And that repetition, we have to say things over and over and over and over and over again. But I think to balance it with the future.
Right.
To balance the history with the future.
Right.
And we don't even have to, we don't have to say Afrofuturism either. Because, even though that's beautiful, and yes, we need to, talk about black people or African people or Africa into the future. We also need to talk about, what the world is going to look like. Right. When we become powerful. It's, this is a world view. This is a world future. And that's what they're scared of. That's what the quote-unquote oppressors are scared of.
All right. Can I say?
Yes.
Why are they scared of it, though, Mama Fiyah? Because we hear that all the time. Like, people be saying, the problem is white folks, they scared. And, but what is it? Does anyone know? Does anybody watching know what this fear is about? Because it's a real fear. Obviously, I mean, you got to look at all the things that have been deliberately done to those of us who have come to be called black in America. Somebody's scared than a motherfucker.
Because we the divine alchemists. Whatever we say happens. Definitely. Whatever we say actualizes and manifests into something. That's scary as fuck.
Yes.
Especially when you have been totally, disrespectful of these people who have proven the most beautiful, the most honorable, the most harmonious, the most powerful people. And we don't know who we are. And as soon as we know who we are, that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of us knowing who we are.
That's right.
And the power in that.
Because this is a matter of survival for those who have come to be called white. Racism is about the survival. And this isn't my thing.
And we've talked about that for the last 5 years.
Yeah, but it's important that our people know, why would motherfuckers do that? Because our hearts ain't even like that. We just can't fathom. That's why we be trying to say it's something else. It's not that.
The most powerful family.
This is about survival, and the concept of the lackful says that if you can, you're going to do to me what I've been doing to you. That's the integrity of it. And that's the fear. That's the fear. So the fear is that there's no, that's why your mind is under attack. It's very important that you think low of yourself and high of other people. It's apparent. That's what I'm saying. For this to work, and this is about people's survival. This is about the survival of a whole people, family. So I just wanted to put that in there because it's not just, and it's not. I know that you're not saying that.
Ooh.
I know you're not minimizing it, but I'm adding that in there so that you understand why a fucker goes so hard. Because this is people are trying to survive. They're not. This ain't
out all the stops.
This ain't about people like just don't like you because you got nappy hair, you got big lips, or you got a big ass. This ain't about that shit. This
they
is
want
about,
to be you.
Right. This is about them surviving and understanding the genetic dominance of melanin. I talked to the brother the day we were building, and I said, look, man, as a black man, so-called black man, you are the only man on the planet who can reproduce yourself with any woman. The only man who can. That means no matter where you put your sperm, you will be able to replicate yourself. And so when in the process of doing that, you change genetically what that product is. So if you hook up with a so-called white woman, or those who have become white, and you all have a child, that child is no longer white. That dominance in your melanin changes that whole white thing is done for it, and it'll never be that again.
And that goes for black women too.
But I was just talking about from the man standpoint only because in this patriarchal society, the attack that is on the black man is overt. The attack on the black woman is covert, and that the black man has been co-opted into adding to the oppression of the black woman.
Yes.
Now, much of that is in my upcoming book, Resolving Rape Culture.
Come on, Brother Shay.
Which is almost completed. There's some folks who've come by. We've done some pilots on the actual workshop, but there's a book that's going to accompany the workshop coming out in early 2019, we know, which is not long from now. But it delves into that. So this isn't we're very clear on True Love Movement that black men and black women are halves of the same whole. We're not at all opposites. And so that's a different understanding than we've been socialized in. But I digress. But I wanted to put that in there, Mama Fire. So, history, it's not dead, it's not past, it's very much alive, and it is shaping our reality today. And we're going to draw from history to create this future that is like
Sankofa.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I want to remind everybody that this today was just a beginning introduction of alchemy and how you can begin using it today and like right now is to take account of what you're thinking. Mm-hmm. Take account of what you're saying. Use will instead of want. Simple things. Take account. Don't just, because we're operating kind of how we've been programmed and brainwashed to operate, So if you take account of what you say, instead of just saying it, right? There's a step in between thinking something and saying it. Make a step there and say, is this really what I want to say? Right. Out into the universe, out into the space around me, in knowing that it will create itself. So that's something that we can do today to see your power. And remember we talked about the portal? We talked about the New Year's kind of portal. We talked about, I don't know if we brought up, but winter solstice and all this time. Solstice, yeah. Do a little experiment, I remember sitting around with my sisters and doing like a womb visualization, like planting a seed of change into our wombs. Man, the dynamic stuff that came out of that group, right? So many things came out of that group. And my sisters are like, this happened and that happened. And so many things happened to me. And it proved to my sisters that they had the power. Mm-hmm. It proved in that moment. So do a little experiment.
Yeah.
Prove to yourself, set an intention, know that you can do it, say it, write it, visualize it, and then leave it alone. You've planted the seed at that point.
That's right.
And just see it, watch it manifest. Now, the knowledge that it can happen is the important part. The knowing. And see, if we don't know that we are a powerful people, if we don't know that this change can happen with Black people, powerful people, if we don't know these things, it'll never happen. Right. Just like if you don't know that you're able or capable of doing A, B, and C, it won't happen. So that's the part of alchemy that has to be. You have to know that you're a powerful person and that you are creating. You can create what it is you want. All right. Did I say too much?
No, you did it. I mean, you did it particularly for the sisters, for sure.
Oh, okay. But brothers can do that too.
Well, brothers can do it.
No, well, I talked about the womb and everything. But
I wanted to speak to the brothers.
Okay, but knowing, stopping and being intentional about what you say, being intentional about what you think and about what you say, as well as changing want to will. Those three things. What you say, Brother Shay?
Well, I wanted to add on to what you were saying, but frame it in the realm of the Black man, just for for some specific reasons. And you talked about being intentional, and maybe better than anyone else where that came from. And I wasn't even living here, and I got that message that was the thing to do. Like that was where my ability to create was through intention. But this was not just having the intention, but having the intention and seeing that intention through to the outcome.
Yes.
So that means that's very deliberate things. That's not being careless. And so now, I've been hearing the be intentional. We used to hear it all the time, people saying it, but I actually was saying that in maybe like 2009, because I stumbled. I'm not the first person to say be intentional, but it was a personal mantra because I was actively creating my way right to the seat that I'm sitting in. That's how I know. That's how I know it is. But the intention is about the will to see it through to the outcome. Because oftentimes we like to be measured on what we intended to do and not exactly the outcome, and we can't really do that. We have to be able to qualify.
So it's intention, yes, but it's intention, it's action, and follow through.
Intention, action, and follow through.
That's right.
So she was talking about the womb for the sisters because they have the pot, the magic pot. Well, brothers, you got the magic wand.
Come on.
You understand, brother? We got the magic wand. So you got to use your magic wand.
Come on.
Over the magic pot. You understand? To create. Collectively, this is the alchemy that we're talking about. It's the co-creation, the combining of the two things that are seemingly different to produce something else. And you do that deliberately and intentionally. The thing is, though, in order to do this, you have to be very, very clear about what it is that you're bringing. That's why you got to find yourself out. And we know what happens when we don't find ourselves out and we are trying to co-create something. We get something other than what we have, but it don't necessarily be all that we would like it to be. So we actually have the capacity to deliberately create that which we want. And so I'm going to say to the brothers to use your magic wand in a responsible way to be able to produce for yourself and who you're co-creating with the results that you all desire. Because you have the capacity to do it, brothers. And the sisters cannot do this alone, Mama Fiyah. Is that correct?
I mean, she can do it for herself alone.
She can do it for herself alone, but we're talking about the alchemizing of our people.
Of our people. We must do it together.
We got to do it together. So
we are so powerful together, my people.
But in order to do it together, you got to do it. You got to do it first, so that way you know it's real. So this goes back to the self-love we talk about, the self-everything. This is really, really you doing the work, family. This is you doing your own personal work. As Mama Fiyah said, find yourself out.
Ooh.
Find yourself out. That's how we're going to rise, family. But that's the only way. We're not going to rise if we waiting on black people to unite and come together. That shit is played out. That's my term from earlier, played out. That shit is antiquated. As we move to the future, personal responsibility, personal contribution. And one of the things I teach, and I've taught forever, is first you have to know what you're offering, and then you have to have your ability to improve situations and circumstances wherever you are. And that has to be, you have to be guided with your heart to do that. So this is not intellectual, brothers. I'm saying this is heart work. This is heart work. And there's our getting our humanity back, we have to get it through here. So we have to get our minds right through here. That's where it's at. So I wanted to throw that in there for the brothers to have some specific work to do too, Mama Fiyah.
Yeah.
So that we can be complimentary for our sisters with the pot, the magic pot.
The magic pot.
The honey pot.
The honey pot.
Look at God.
Yeah. So it's 11 o'clock, Brother Shaq. I am fading.
It
you
is
can tell
a 2-hour
I yawned.
True Love Movement Tuesdays. We are so honored and grateful for everyone who has come through. I am looking for the important announcement about what we're going to be doing tomorrow night. I had it up, but something happened.
Oh,
that's okay.
I started messing with it.
That's okay.
So tomorrow night, we're going to be on Facebook Live.
Right.
With a sister called Dana Being Dana.
Right.
And of course, we will share it. And it's a relationship show with other couples. We're talking about Black love. We're talking about what works and what doesn't. And I think we don't do enough relationship shows. Brother Shaq and I don't center True Love Movement around our relationship.
Right.
But it is a manifestation and an actualization of our relationship too.
Right.
And so we've got an opportunity to talk about us and talk about
do that shit.
Yeah, you know we're gonna bring it. You know we'll always bring the truth in a way that we know it.
Right.
We're still growing, we're still learning too, you know, but I think it's cool that we were given this opportunity to do that. And we would love for y'all to join us and really see True Love Movement shine amongst other couples.
Right on. And so we're gonna drop the link for that in the comments. And I want to do, Mama Fiyah, I don't want to go nowhere before we, because we desire to do it, but this is that being intentional and being the outcome that we're talking about. I want to shout out and recognize folk who joined us, who stopped by. Shout out Sister Sonny Patterson.
That's my sister.
We got Mama Ranika.
That's my
Tracy,
sister. Yes.
Tracy Smith.
Sister Soldiers in the building.
Mama Dawn Israel.
That's my sister too.
Sister Tracy Elizabeth.
Yes.
Our
Sister
brother
Warrior.
One Eye Christopher Williams.
What's up, One Eye?
Mama Kim Ford.
Sister.
Tillman's Corner was in the house. Third Tillman. Shout out to that brother,
thanks
man.
for being a part, brother.
Sister Leontine Moran, and she spoke volumes, many comments with her.
Thank you, Queen.
Is this Sister Donnie Holton?
Thank you.
I hope I'm saying it right. Thank you for joining us. Now, this is Dr. Baba Samori's mama here.
Hi, Queen. Hi, Mama.
Yeah, that's
Mama Queen.
Mama Roberta Marlene Lewis Clark. So we thank you for joining. Our brother Danny Israel. Thank him for joining
you, brother.
us. Man. Monica, she's marvelous.
Thank you, my sister.
LaSonia or LaSandra, forgive me if it's wrong, sister. Chantrell, thank you, because this is the first time that I think I've seen her name.
Thank you for joining.
Sister Edwina Austin. Thank you, sister. Our good sister
Shantice,
Denise,
she
Rose
shows
Hall
up
with
every
us.
single time. We love you, Queen.
Natasha Wilson
as well. We love you,
our
sister.
good brother Damon Al.
Peace, brother. Thank you for joining us.
And that's what I see in the list. And I know that there are many more, and there will be many more, because you all will just not hold this experience for yourself, but you'll share it. You'll share about True Love Movement. You will share the show. Not tonight, family. We're gonna go to bed because we've done it.
We're pooped.
But tomorrow I'm gonna put it up on YouTube and share it to folks who are not on Facebook, and help us build that YouTube subscription thing. We think it can be powerful. And not for our egos, but simply because this is important work.
This is political education for the Black nation.
And we know there really isn't anything like this. Not that we're trying to be different. We're just being authentic. And we're dealing with things in ways that aren't typical because we're really like trying to get the whiteness out of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're actively working to get the whiteness out of our minds, out of our hearts, out of our language, and Sankofa, and get back to authentically who we are. And it is a process. It's a journey, and you all are front row seats. You're part of it. This is part of our collective work. Okay. Sister said, Danielle, I met y'all at King and Queen. Andaye is my aunt. Oh yeah,
yes,
right on.
Queen.
Lil Mom. Okay, yeah, because we was over there with our lead not long ago before you had that album. Not the album, the thing at Embassy Studios. All right. Thank you for making us know it, dear sister. And we like that too when we see y'all out there in the street, you know, and you're talking good shit about you enjoyed this or you like that. That's good. It feels good. You know, it lets us know that you're with us. So like we're gonna do that together, but find yourself out. Find yourself out, like Mama Fiyah said. Find yourself out.
Well, you know how you find people out.
Right, no, I love it. Man, look, you know me, I'm slow.
Every day I find
delivering.
something out about myself. Yeah. Every day I find something about myself that needs to be tweaked, that needs to be changed in some way. And I know I can change it. Right. You know, who can change it? Me. Right. And so I get better and better daily. It feels great.
It feels great. I want to testify right quick. So one of the things you helped me with, and it is an ongoing thing for me, is my ego. I would like to say the ego, because when I say the ego, it makes me not sound so bad. But my ego, my triple Leo ego. So what I've been doing lately, Mama Fiyah, is when I have a response or a feeling about something, I really do ask myself, is this rooted in love or is this my ego? Like, really, what is this? And because I ask myself that, and you know what I find most of the time? That if I put love on it, it changes my emotion. Come on. Like I'm able to change my emotion.
Love is a beautiful thing.
Because from an authentic standpoint, it ain't about down pressing my ego. It's about uplifting my love. Yes. You see what I'm saying? Yes. That's a whole different kind of thing. So we're not talking about the negative or what you don't want, but really coming from if I'm coming from love, then I have to really operate from a place of love, and I have to check myself on a regular basis because I've been so much on the ego. You know what I'm saying? And so much rooted on the ego, and so many things are challenging that because it's time for me to grow. That's why I'm being challenged on that. Yes. Because it's time for me to grow. Yes, and so I have a response ability. I have an ability to respond to my higher self saying, okay, bro, that shit played out. You got to grow. You've been doing that shit for 40 years, 45 years. Like, come on, man. You know, and it's like, yeah, you can't be stuck. You can't be stuck. So I'm being intentional. And I'm seeing it all the way to the outcome.
And it's all about you.
It's all about me.
It's all about you. When we feel the need to say, blame people and say and reflect back and be defensive, watch that. We have to watch when that happens to us. Mm-hmm. When you want to bounce something off somebody else and say it's somebody else, that's your cue. That's your cue right there to stop and say why. Why am I doing this? What do I need to learn right now? Mm-hmm. How do I need to change in this moment? Because when you are full of love, when you found love and self-love for yourself, that's never going to feel like something to do. Right. To reflect and hurt somebody else so you don't have to be hurt. So every single time that happens to us, y'all, that is your moment to learn something. That is your moment to change. And it happens to me regularly. Mm-hmm. So I know it happens to all of us regularly. Definitely. It's okay to recognize that we have been programmed
socialized
to think that to feel is a bad thing. Right. You know, and our emotions are hurting and our emotions are stuck in a childish place, and to grow them up. Yes. Who can grow up your emotions? Ooh. You. Only you.
you said something golden. I'd like to just kind of leave with this.
Okay.
Only because it just complements what you were saying. But this is serious, y'all. This was a personal thing of mine maybe 20 some odd years ago, and it really did help. It was a paradigm shifter, and it has helped me tremendously. But we've been socialized to, you know how when you were young and you got in trouble and you fucked up, somebody would say, well, you're gonna learn your lesson. That's what this shit is about. You gotta learn your lesson. And if you got in trouble as much as I got in trouble with, I'm talking about when I was small, like from just, I don't want no part of a lesson. To me, I oriented lesson with some bad shit. So if I got to learn a lesson, that means I done fucked up. And that means I'm going to suffer, and I don't want to suffer. So whenever it's being presented that you got to learn this lesson, I have a visceral, not now, but I had a visceral response to that, like, oh.
Yesterday.
Man. Yesterday. But today, they're not the...
I'm just kidding.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
But but really, but in all honesty, but there was a few decades ago, what I really did, I was able to embrace the beauty of learning and my capacity to learn and experience those lessons.
Yes.
Because there was so much growth in that.
Yes,
like on the other side of that. On the other side of that. So when the lesson is being presented, it's cool to get it. Like, go ahead and get it. Because it'll save you later if you will.
Because you just keep repeating it.
If you don't,
over
you get
and
the
over
lesson again. And you
again.
keep like, man, I keep having the same relationship, the same shit
Come
keep
on,
happening.
brother
Like we
Shaq.
have that assessment, but we looking over there and say, man, people ain't shit. Find yourself out. Because you attracted ain't shit people. Because that's all you can do. Because the universe is telling you, is giving you an opportunity to grow and level up. And you will repeat the lesson until you accept it.
Yes, you will.
So embrace
And it
the
gets
lesson.
faster and worse around every time, because it's like you didn't get it that time. Okay, let's make it a little harder this time. Let's make it worse on you so you can get it.
It get worse, you heard me.
It's just about getting the understanding of your own power and using your power to get the life that it is that you deserve.
That's right. So
Yeah.
Thank you, family, for joining us. Share the show with people you respect. Go back and look at that True Love Movement Hour Saturday in the presence and absence of black men in previous shows. And if you have questions, concerns, comments, use the comment section. All right.
Thank y'all for hanging with us
Thank
tonight.
y'all for hanging with us for 2 hours. You know, like I said, we'll be on the air on this Saturday coming up. True Love Movement Hour, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. on WBOK, 12:30 a.m. Real Talk for Real Times, in a much more tame sort of fashion.
Yes.
That's FCC compliant. Different show, totally different show, but same power. And bring somebody along. We look forward to seeing you there. And check us out tomorrow night. We're going to drop the link in there, and y'all comment on that. We're going to give you all that.
Aww.
I'm going to give you all the... And
I love to see him do stuff like that.
like what?
Like blow kisses. Oh,
It's different though. You do what you do.
No, but
it's
I
really
love
cool.
it because these kisses are blown because they're giving us hearts and stuff, and I just wanted to. But I mean, I just love it, Brother Shaq. Give him some hearts, y'all. Give Brother Shaq hearts for his blowing kisses.
Right on. Thank you, family. Thank you. So.
You know that's my sister Tracy Elizabeth with
Right
all them
on.
hearts. We love you, Queen.
Right on. Thank you, Mama. Thank all of you too. So I'm Brother Shaq
And Mama Fiyah.
for True Love Movement Tuesdays.
Wholeness.
We'll catch y'all tomorrow.